Supporters of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny held gatherings in residential courtyards across Russia on Sunday, despite warnings that they could be arrested. Navalny's allies have declared a moratorium on street rallies until the spring after police detained thousands of people in the past few weeks at protests against the opposition politicians' arrest and imprisonment. But they wanted Russians to show solidarity with Navalny by gathering outside their homes for 15 minutes on Valentine's Day evening, shining their mobile phone torches and arranging candles in the shape of a heart. People held phones with flickering flashlights across Russia, including in the eastern Siberia city of Irkutsk, Yekaterinburg in the Urals mountains, and Novosibirsk in western Siberia. However, the vigils were mostly small and sporadic, unlike the huge street protests in recent weeks. Navalny was arrested last week on his return from Germany following treatment for poisoning with what many Western countries say was a nerve agent. He was jailed on February 2nd for violating parole on what he said were trumped-up charges. He blames President Vladimir Putin for the poisoning, and Western countries are considering new sanctions against Russia. The Kremlin denies any involvement and questions whether Navalny was poisoned.
At a pharmacy in Chicago, visitors rolled up their sleeves to get a first dose of a COVID-19 vaccination. Walgreens and CVS pharmacies this week will begin inoculations against the novel coronavirus.
All right, and then
Jamie Stranatka is this Walgreens pharmacy manager.
I'm really excited to be a part of this and to be a part of the solution. It's really great when patients come in. They're so thankful and happy to finally get the vaccine, and it's nice that this is the beginning of the end of the pandemic.
The White House this week began coordinating shipments of vaccines directly to 6,500 pharmacies with the goal of reaching about 40,000. Vaccine distribution comes at a critical time in the United States, with officials expecting the country's coronavirus death toll to soon reach 500,000. Stadiums have been converted into vaccination sites. 2 new centers were readied in Oakland and East Los Angeles this week to serve minority populations.
Each of them is going to be capable of providing 6,000 vaccinations per day.
Grady Joseph is with the California Office of Emergency Services.
Our goal is to get these stood up quickly and then be able to scale them to be able to meet the needs of the particular communities that we're working to serve.
The U.S. government is already ahead of pace to meet President Biden's goal of 100 million shots in 100 days. But the rollout has hit problems as states scramble to distribute federal deliveries. 2 months ago, state officials had a surplus and doses sat unused. Now they say they face a shortfall. Weekly shipments are now up to 11 million, up from 8.6 million when President Joe Biden took office.
Mexico received a shipment of 870,000 doses of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine from India on Sunday, the government said, as the country prepares to prioritize older adults in the next phase of its vaccination campaign. Mexico is also expecting shipments to resume of vaccine from Pfizer-BioNTech, with 494,000 doses due to arrive on Tuesday. Sunday's shipment amounts to about 42% of the 2 million doses of the AstraZeneca and Oxford University vaccine the country plans to import from India, in addition to packaging it locally. Mexico and Argentina have an agreement with AstraZeneca to produce the vaccine for eventual distributions of 250 million doses in Latin America, with financial support from the foundations of Mexican billionaire Carlos Slim. Mexico was also in talks to host part of a phase 3 clinical trial for a Cuban COVID-19 vaccine, pending authorization from health regulator COFEPRIS. Mexico, which has one of the world's highest coronavirus death tolls, started vaccinating healthcare workers in December, but struggled to hit its target amid global shortages and delays of Pfizer's vaccine. Mexico now plans to vaccinate adults over the age of 60, a group representing 12% of Mexico's 126 million people between February and April. Latin America's number 2 economy has so far received just 1,636,350 vaccine doses, according to government data, but has agreements for millions more, including for China's CanSino and the Russian Sputnik. Mexico received the active ingredient for 2 million doses of the CanSino vaccine on Thursday. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are expecting their second child, a spokesperson for the couple has said. Harry and Meghan are preparing to welcome a brother or sister for their son Archie Mountbatten Windsor, who turned 1 last May. A spokesperson for the couple said they were overjoyed. A Buckingham Palace spokesman said the Queen, Duke of Edinburgh, Prince of Wales and the rest of the royal family are delighted and wish them well. Harry and Meghan shared black and white pictures of themselves under a tree, with Harry resting his hand on Meghan's head as she cradles her bump. Their child will be 8 in line to the throne. Meghan's due date has not been revealed, but her bump appeared prominent in the photograph. The news comes after the Duchess said in November that she had suffered a miscarriage last July, writing in an article of feeling an almost unbearable grief. A spokesperson for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex said, "We can confirm that Archie is going to be a big brother." Breakdancers performed on the streets of Yangon on Sunday as part of demonstrations against the military coup in Myanmar. Performers wanted to show their support for hundreds of thousands of people who took to the street across the country for the 9th day of anti-coup protests on Sunday as the new army rulers grappled to contain a strike by government workers that could cripple their ability to run the country. Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy (NLD) won a landslide victory in the November election that the army said was tainted with fraud, an accusation dismissed by the Electoral Commission. Armored vehicles have appeared on the streets of several cities in Myanmar amid signs the military is preparing a crackdown on oppositions to the coup it carried out on 1st February. The internet was almost entirely shut down. In the northern state of Kachin, the security forces fired shots at a protest, the 9th day of anti-coup demonstrations across the country. A UN official accused the military of declaring war on the people. Western embassies urged the military to show restraint. A statement signed by the EU, the US and UK said, quote, "We call on security forces to refrain from violence against demonstrators who are protesting the overthrow of their legitimate government," unquote.
Bitcoin is testing fresh record highs. The cryptocurrency hit over $48,000 on Thursday, up around 6.9%. By Friday morning, it had eased back but was still holding above 47%. The gains came after BNY Mellon said it had formed a new unit to help clients hold, transfer and issue digital assets. A new unit at the bank is expected to roll out the offerings later this year. The largest virtual currency in terms of market capitalization has gained around 66% so far this year and soared roughly 1,200% since mid-March 2020. The BNY Mellon announcement came just days after Elon Musk's Tesla revealed it had bought $1.5 billion worth of the cryptocurrency and plans to start accepting it as a form of payment for its cars. After long being shunned by traditional financial firms, Bitcoin has finally entered the mainstream. Last month, BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, added Bitcoin as an eligible investment to 2 funds. And this week, credit card giant MasterCard said it was planning to offer support for some cryptocurrencies on its network this year. But analysts say corporations are simply hedging themselves against the possibility that Bitcoin succeeds, while other market participants continue to advise caution.
Zoo officials believe 2 white tiger cubs that died in a Pakistan zoo last month may have been victims of COVID-19. The cubs died in the Lahore Zoo on January 30th, 4 days after beginning treatment for what officials thought was feline panleukopenia virus, a disease the zoo said is common in Pakistan and targets cats' immune systems. But an autopsy found the cubs' lungs were badly damaged and were suffering from severe infection. Pathologists concluded that they died from COVID-19. Zoo Deputy Director Kiran Salim said the cubs had probably caught the virus from someone handling and feeding them. She said all the zoo staff were tested for coronavirus, with 6 testing positive, including one who handled the cubs. Animal rights activists say hundreds of animals die in Pakistan's zoo from poor living conditions and neglect. And Sufisha Nanushe, founder of the Justice for Kiki Animal Rescue and Shelter, said this case was no different. Salim rejected such allegations, saying that animal rights activists were welcome to visit.